Hi everyone, it's Tommy. As you know, for the past 2 weeks I've had a channel. I appreciate all of those of you who have sent me messages and are liking the videos. And some of you said you would subscribe, but you didn't, or you couldn't, or you wouldn't. Whatever the case is, keep watching. Tell your friends. It doesn't have to be for people moving in the Philippines. It's some interesting stuff to compare two countries. Now, I'm going to live there part time, hopefully for a long time. Um, but after reviewing everything that I reviewed and everything I went over today, I would say I, I'm not sure if I would ever even consider going there full time. Um, the average life expectancy in the United States is 78.54, and that's men and women combined. The average age in the Philippines is 71.10. That's a 7.44 age difference. 7 years of living is, if they're good years, that's a lot. Um, the first thing, the environment over there. I'm doing most of this off of the top of my head. I have a few things written down, but I'm just going to speak as if we were having a conversation. First thing over there is the environment. It's very hot, and a lot of guys don't start going over to their mid to late 50s figuring they'll live in the Philippines. They'll have plenty of money to do things. I'm kind of in that same mindset. It's going to be my snowbird home versus somebody from New York who's going to Florida. Um, the environment, it's very hot. It's very, I sweat a lot, but it's very humid. It makes it hard to move. When I go into an air conditioned gym, I get a great workout in. When I go to some of the boxing gyms, not so much. There ain't no air conditioners in there. But I get my workouts in. I go to the ocean. I walk in the water. I tread water. I do what I can to stay healthy. But for a lot of you guys who exercise a little or a lot or none at all, it's tough over there. I mean, I'm always covered in sweat because of the humidity. Heat and humidity, not great, especially as we get older. Um, Secondly, is the food. A lot of foodborne illness, a lot of dirty food conditions. When I went to the supermarket over there on my wife's island, the chopped meat, I, I don't know if I would feed it to a dog. No offense to the Filipinos here, your food is way different than it would be in America. The way the food just sits out, some of it's not even refrigerated well. It's like a drawer you pull, you scoop the meat out, everybody's hands could be in it. I'm sure the Filipinos, who are very smart people, have done stuff to protect it against COVID. I'm assuming because they are. They're smart. It's just what they don't have at their disposal that makes it an unhealthier place to live. In the province I live in, I am 2.5 hours by ambulance, 2.5 hours by car to the closest hospital. There's 4 good hospitals in the major town on my island. There could be 44. If I'm 2.5 hours away, I could be dead. No other way to put it. God willing, that won't happen. But you are far away in the provinces. I'm going to do the reverse thing. As the years go on, I'm going to move into a city. I'm going to get myself a nice condominium in Manila or there are other big cities and that where I could be close to a hospital where, God forbid, something happens. I could be at a hospital in 10, 15 minutes by ambulance, or a hell of a lot quicker than 2.5 hours. So you're far from hospitals. The doctors out on the provinces, they're more than qualified. They have their degrees, but they're far away from hospitals, and I don't know how much research and learning they do. And they don't have the facilities to do anything for you. A lot of the hospitals, from what I just learned talking to somebody, don't have defibrillators. All right. Um, Other thing, talking about the environment, mosquitoes. There is a lot of mosquitoes there. When I go, I bring a combination sunscreen and mosquito repellent. It seems to do the trick. And I have those little coils at my wife's store that tend to keep the mosquitoes away. But it can be very dangerous. The island we live on in Manila, it's malaria free, or so I've been told. But it's malaria free. But you can get bit up by mosquitoes and not catch. You can have a lot of problems with infections, with the mosquitoes bite. It gets irritated. God knows what's going to happen. And again, you're 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from a hospital, and the doctor might be taking a 4-hour lunch break, in Filipino time. Neither here nor there. Another troubling fact is 16, I think it was 16.7, but at least 16% of the people there have hepatitis B. That ain't good. I mean, it's, from what I understand and remember, it's a mostly sexual transmitted form of hepatitis, but it's out there, it's flying around. I'm sure you don't have to be having sex with somebody to get it. Who knows? But a lot of single guys go over this, so be careful. Bring your own form of protection because they don't sell it there. And that's probably the reason hepatitis and STDs keep thriving there, because of a backwards ass mindset. Okay. Um, Unsanitary food can get you very sick. You could die. Hepatitis could lead to big problems. You could die. Believe it or not, mosquitoes can lead to other problems. Um, Doctor availability, which I just said, if you're up in the mountains where you're far away, you might not even get to that doctor in time. Forget the hospital that's 2.5 hours away. I'm doing the reverse thing. Um, Pardon me. There is plenty of insurance there. Um, I think I talked about it in my first video. Look for health insurance. Look for it if you have conditions or on medications, or you want in service, out of service, whatever you want. Um, get insurance. There are plenty of companies who will do it. And if you're going to self-insure, like I said in the video a couple of weeks back, set some decent money aside. If you fall and break your hip, you can get a hip replacement for $6,000. A doctor's visit is $10, 10 to 15. So you'll always have self-insured money for a physical, or if you got an earache or a sore throat, you'll have money to go to a doctor. I hope you have 10 or 15. A dentist, and it's very important to keep your teeth clean, as we know, even in America, keep your teeth clean for your heart. It's $12 to see a dentist. I know I'm all over the place here, but I have so many things I wanted to say. I've been to the Philippines a bunch of times. I think one time I lost weight, twice I stayed about the same, and a bunch of time I gained weight. When I first went there, I totally turned off by the food. Everything else was good, but the food was horrible. The only time I would eat is when I was eating fast food, but I couldn't eat the breakfast. It was fish heads, rice. Big difference in diet. Big difference in diet. The food quality is not good there, and the diet is heavy in starches, white rice. They eat white rice 4 times a day. Every meal has white rice, and their snack sometimes could just be a couple spoonfuls of white rice. They would probably be doing a lot better if they cut their white rice intake by 2/3 and just had it every day at dinner, like Americans would have a potato or macaroni. Um, the reason they're dying at 71.10 versus us living a little longer is because of that diet. It is heart attack, blood pressure, strokes, and a lot of that is diet. Some of the times when I go over there, my best intention is to eat fruit and vegetables and some lean chicken, but I don't like it. It's too hot. I see them cooking the food. I get turned off. I saw a big rat in a restaurant once. I freaked. So what I'll do to fill myself is a lot of chips, a lot of candy, a lot of cookies, a lot of soda, just to fill my belly up. As you can see, I don't have a problem with that. I am coming off a surgery and I am protruding a little bit, but I got big over the over this damn pandemic. But it's a lot of food for thought, and I whipped through it. But I did do a lot of research today between the heat, the environment, the lack of good medical care. There ain't no Mayo Clinic there. There ain't no Mount Sinai, Cedar Sinai, Columbia. There's none of that there. They have good hospitals, but you got to get close to them. I'm doing the reverse. But the disease, the hepatitis B and the mosquitoes worry me. I've been there enough times to know I'll be okay, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll have eaten something or dripped something on me and the mosquitoes are going to come in full force. The one good thing I would say the Philippines has going for it is the cheap doctors and the cheap dentists. You'll always go, and they're very competent, they're very caring people, the medical professionals there. It's just what they're working with. They're a hell of a lot better than North Korea, and they're nowhere near as good as the United States. But if you have to go to a doctor or a dentist, you have the money for that. Nobody's walking around with less than $20 in their pocket. But get some health insurance. Um, get it, because if I have to have a shoulder or knee surgery, I'm coming back to America. I'll brace up and I'll fly back to America. But um, there's some things you might not be able to fly back to America for. When I was looking at the life expectancy numbers, I was kind of blown away, to be honest with you, thinking that I would be healthier there. But then it all made sense to me as I was looking things up. It's not healthier. It's not healthier. And for a guy like myself who tends to put weight on, it could be dangerous to go there. You might say, well, you don't like the food, Tommy. I don't, but that gives me a reason to load up on crap. Um, they die earlier, and I would say the biggest thing is their lack of medical care and their diet. Those are the two biggest. Hepatitis B, it's living because some people just don't think, they don't care, they don't know. Um, if you don't have a girlfriend or a wife, bring some protection if you're going to go poontanging around out there. But there's a lot of things to consider. The decision I made was, if I get sick in a real bad condition, I'm staying in America and I'll go into an assisted living, or I'll have a nurse here. But if you do go to the Philippines and you need assisted living and nurses and stuff like that, excuse me, like I said in a couple of videos ago, labor is real cheap. You can get a healthcare person to stay at your house, or you can go to assisted living and somebody will hover over you. But again, what are they working with? It's I've got a few medical conditions, and it's something I'm going to have to monitor. I'm hoping in the next 5-10 years, as I approach up on 60, unbelievably, in 5 to 10 years, more like 5, that healthcare will have evolved, and I'll feel a little better about going over there. Don't know. It's a wild card for a lot of you guys who are thinking you're going to go over there and be invincible. Nobody's invincible, and when you're far away from home, you're far away from home. It's the most serious thing. I actually was doing research throughout the day. Something to think about. And I know I was all over the place, and I know you might be, but if nothing else, look at all this stuff up. You do have to get insurance. You can self-insure to a limit, but you do have to get some form of coverage, and take advantage of the cheap doctors and dentists. Get your checkups, get your teeth cleaned. Maybe you find a place that sells healthy food. You might search it out, or you bring food over from America, oatmeal. I don't know what you have to do, but you have to be ready, whether you're going there part-time or full-time. Anyway, I'll touch on these subjects again, but this is a big one.